And good evening. I'm your friend Scotty Ray, and look who we have here, Miss Holly Brand.
Woo!
The lady in black tonight. That's leather and all, too, isn't it?
It is.
I'm telling you, your daddy doesn't spend his whole Christmas budget in one place. We welcome everybody in. This is someone from our area, the Meridian, Mississippi area. No matter where you're watching from, this is going to be probably a household name before you know it. It already is around here. As you were walking in, we were talking about your dad, who did help build our studio when we got started.
He did.
Big thank you to y'all. Done so much, and I've known you forever. But let's get to the meat of things, and we're going to discuss a lot of things.
Okay.
Miss Mississippi, right here, started out as a little girl. How does it feel to go from Miss Mississippi? That was big.
It was
now
big.
You're on a stage. How many people watched you that night?
I don't know how many people watched me on my Bond audition, but I do know that I'm up to 5 million views on TikTok, which is crazy.
5 million?
And I had like less than 1,000 followers on TikTok before all of this, and now I think I'm over 50,000. Like every time I open my app, it's just like hundreds of follows. It's crazy. So
are you getting a lot of questions from people all over asking you stuff? And
I've gotten a few questions. Most of my comments are positive about like my song choice and about Kelly. Some people have talked about Blake. That's gotten a lot of traffic online, but really everything has been really, really positive, and I'm really grateful for that. You know, it's nerve-wracking when you do something like that because you don't know how people are going to react and you don't know what the nation is going to say about you. So to be in a position where most of it is positive is a blessing for sure.
So my first question, you tell me if you can't answer it.
Okay.
When you walked on stage and I heard that first note, I knew the song. Did you get to choose that, or did they give that to you to sing? Did you choose it because you're from Mississippi?
I can't talk about song selection, but
Okay.
I will say that Mississippi Girl was the perfect song for my audition. I knew that when I was Miss Mississippi that I've always known that I wanted to do The Voice, but I went through a phase where I didn't feel that I was good enough to do it and really struggle with my confidence, and being Miss Mississippi really helped that confidence. And it wasn't the position that I was in, it was the people that I met throughout my year. And so I knew that if I would ever get to a place like The Voice, I wanted to tip my hat to those people and let them know that I haven't forgotten about you guys and I love you.
When you're in that auditorium, because I've never been to that one apparently, you walk out on stage, it's dark, because I've been on stages before and it's dark.
It's very dark.
The lights come on. How many people did that stage in that auditorium hold?
I honestly don't even know. I know that when you walk out, it's very quiet. Everybody has to be very quiet and dramatic, you know? And so I'm just freaking out because I'm about to have the biggest performance of my entire life. So really the only thing I was focused on was the song. I wanted to make sure that I could hear the band and hear myself okay. And even I've been asked about how did you feel when everybody turned for you? I couldn't tell you in the moment because I really was just focusing on getting through the song and not having like a major mishap. So
I would guess now, because I know you've sang in a bunch of concerts. Would you say that's the biggest audience to date that you've sang in front of, or have you done bigger?
I think the biggest live audience that I've ever done was at the NCAA Super Regionals. I sang the national anthem for that a few years ago, and I think there were about 13,000 in attendance.
That's a lot.
The Voice audiences are smaller in person, but as far as a television audience, that's the biggest.
I would be scared to guess how many people actually. Your voice, and because I have to put myself in your spot. You're from Meridian, Mississippi. You walk on stage. This is something new. You're after a big goal here, and the spotlight's on you. Did you get nervous? Did you have butterflies? What was it?
Oh, I was very nervous. Probably more nervous than I've ever been. I think physically I handled my nerves the best that I ever have, which is a blessing. But mentally I was very, very nervous. You just don't know what's going to happen, and it's something that I think every artist can say that they've dreamed of doing.
Yeah.
And so for it to be kind of right there at your fingertips, I mean, no pressure. So there's definitely a lot that was going through my mind, and just wanting to make sure that I, at the end of the day, was happy with my performance, whether I got a cheer turn or not. So that was where my mind was at.
I keep seeing this referred to you in all of these interviews and stuff that are posted on Facebook and across the nation of the whistle note. And I didn't even know it was a such thing as that. I heard it. It just sounded good.
It wasn't quite a whistle note. It was close. I'm hoping that further along in the show, maybe I can do some more higher register notes, but it was probably closer to a falsetto. But I love messing around with like my higher register, especially in country music. And so I knew that was something I wanted to add in my blind audition songs. Maybe later on in the show, I can do that a little bit more and explore that more with my coach, because she is the queen of some whistle notes. Kelly
Is
Clarkson.
she?
Oh, yeah. She can do everything.
The girl seems like she's got such a personality. Is she that way in person?
Oh, yeah. What you see on TV is 100%. That's Kelly in person. And I love that. She's so real and so relatable and just very bright and encouraging. I describe her to be like sunshine in human form. Like, she's just fun to be around.
I see her the type you go to dinner with, and she goes, "You gonna eat the rest of that? Grab it off your plate."
No.
Pretty close to...
No, Kelly's just funny. Like, she's just real. You know, like you talk to her and you wouldn't think like, oh, this is a celebrity. This is just a real human being, very down to earth. And every time I see her, I still fangirl a little bit.
All right, let's get to a big question, because I even questioned it. You're up there, and even before when they start showing the credits, you're talking about you're from Meridian, and you look up to Blake. You want to be on his team. You go out and you have this little picture that you pull out. She's proud of it. You were 10 in the picture.
It was a baby.
Did Blake just really ignore you, or what was the deal there?
No, I don't know. He didn't tell me why he didn't turn, which is
I'm not even
totally
talking about
fine.
the turn. I'm talking about the reaction to the picture when you go, "Look, I opened a show for you when I was 10 years old." He just didn't have that oomph about it. It was just like, "Oh, okay."
Well, we had a moment to ourselves where we got to talk when all the coaches were, other coaches were going back to their chairs, and he was like, thank you for bringing that, and you thanked him again, just face to face, for inspiring me, not in front of everyone. But we had a moment to ourselves down there.
In reality, I mean, we've both known Blake back when he used to wear a cowboy hat. A long time ago, back to the first wife when he had Kat, and then along come Miranda, who took him from her. And Blake is a nice guy, and we all miss the days of Blake getting a little intoxicated and getting online on Twitter, especially, and telling everybody what he thought. And then after he made it to The Voice, Blake had to kind of back up and go, "Well, I was drinking at the time. I didn't mean all that." But whatever he thought, he texted on Twitter and did it for years.
That's interesting.
But a all-around, just humble guy when you meet him. I remember when he opened, he got to town and we had a show, and he was opening up for Trace Atkins, and he said, "I've always wanted to perform with him." It just gracious, hung out in the crowd with everybody. Is he that way still after all the fame that he's seen? Because it's been 10 years since I've seen him.
He's definitely very down to earth. He's quiet and kind of, I would say, like, kind of keeps to himself, but he's definitely just a chill, happy to be there type of guy. So
wow.
For what the interactions that I've had with him,
Yeah.
at least for when I've been able to see him on stage.
All right, let's go back. And there's a lot of advice that I'm sure that you need to give to others. Let's go back. I've known you a long time, and just about, in my mind, every weekend of your life, you've been somewhere up until this age, either
Probably.
singing, being in a pageant. What is the first time that you remember being on stage? Can you remember that far back?
I'll have to think for a second. I know from my parents telling me the first time that I ever performed was in church. I think when I was maybe 2 or 3. I think I sang "Jesus Loves Me" or something. I personally don't remember it, but I trust my parents and I take their word for it. The first time that I think I remember singing on stage was probably maybe when I was 6. I was involved with a community service-based pageant called National American Miss.
Yeah.
And they had a talent portion that was optional. And of course, I was there singing. And I think that's the first time that I remember like being on stage and singing.
All right, because you were in a lot of beauty pageants as well. As a kid and growing up, was it something you just went and did? When did it become, okay, I really like this, and I'm going to turn this into something one day? When was the change?
Honestly,
Or was there one?
I really think for my first pageant, I just fell in love with it. My first pageant was my school pageant, and up until that point, I was 5, and up until that point, I had been singing. I don't remember a time in my life where I wasn't singing. So I always loved being on stage and performing. And so for me, at the time, pageantry was just another avenue for me to do that. It was a way for me to explore singing in a different performance vibe. And it was a way for me to just be in front of people. And I remember bringing home the flyer from school and my mom being like, we are not doing that. We are not those people. We are not pageant people. We're not doing that. Because my mom didn't do pageants, growing up. She was a dancer. And
oh, really?
Great dancer. I did not get those genes. I have no rhythm. It's bad. But yeah, and she ended up letting me do it, and I somehow won and ended up falling in love with it. And I guess we were hooked after that. I just wanted to be on stage and perform as much as I could. And I was really shy as a kid too. Like, I was the kid that wouldn't speak to anybody. It's pageantry, really the Miss America organization that really brought me out of that, because I was the kid that would sing on stage at something, and then people would come up and try to talk to me afterwards, and I wouldn't say anything to them. I would hide behind my mom's leg. I probably had some social anxiety, if I had to guess, but I still hide
behind my wife's leg.
I was very shy and really didn't know what to say. And so for me, as I got older, pageantry became more than just about performing. It also became a way for me to figure out who I was and come out of my shell, because I knew if I wanted to do music for the rest of my life, which I did, that I would have to learn how to be comfortable, not just singing on stage, but also speaking. And I feel like I'm in that place now.
All right. Do you remember the very first contest or talent show that you won? Where was it? Do you remember it?
I honestly don't. I think I did. I remember doing Ham Jam.
Ham Jam?
Lot. That was a local one. And then I'm trying to think of some other ones that I did. Sebastopolooza, I think I did a few times.
Yeah, I never could pronounce that, so I never said that.
I have no idea. I don't know if that was right. If it's wrong, I'm sorry. But my parents took me everywhere. Any talent competition that there was, they took me. And it really, for me, it wasn't to win. I didn't care about winning. I just wanted to sing. And the trophies were just sprinkles on top of that, just the cherry on top.
And if y'all have never met Holly before, she has won a lot, and you have done so well through each one. All right, let's back this up. Who remembers watching the Johnny Cash movie when Sam Phillips stops him and he goes, "Okay, I need you to go in there and sing this, and I want you to sing it like it's the last song that you'll ever sing in the world." What is Holly Brand's favorite song in the world? Out of anything that you could sing, what is that one song that you would pick to go, that's me? Is there one?
I don't know if there's just one. See, I love all types of music. I'm a country artist and I do Southern gospel and contemporary Christian music as well. But so I can't say just one, but if somebody came up to me and said this is the last song that you'll ever sing, I would probably pick Carrie Underwood's version of How Great Thou Art. That is one of my all-time favorites.
See, and I lean, this just to start an argument, I lean toward Alan's version of that. Both are good, but boy, Alan, where he's standing on that stage of the Opry.
Oh, Carrie Underwood's is
she's
pretty
good now.
It's pretty good.
Both are good in their own, but boy, I listened to Alan's the other night and I was just like, wow.
Mm-hmm. They're both very talented. Oh yeah, and that song is just absolutely beautiful and everyone loves it. I remember watching her sing it live when I was a kid and just being in complete awe, and I still listen to it to this day. It's one of my favorites.
Let me scroll down here. I want to share something with everybody that's watching this. I'm on your fan page, and if anybody wants to go to your fan page, how do they find that?
I think it's my friend created it. I think it's Holly Brand The Voice fan page. And so I think that if you look that up in the search bar on Facebook, it should pop up. It's a group, so you can join it, and all of my voice content will be there. So
we need to just share this, because I got a feeling your mama didn't know this was going to happen. You know, if anybody that goes off to a big city, they're getting ready to a talent show, a mama's excited, but not every mama gets to be put in the spotlight like she is. Let's show this. This is your mom at the motel room. Let's slide down here. And here she is here. Isn't she just beautiful?
Stunning.
She's never going to forgive me for that, is she?
You know, I remember, so when my mom and Lexi flew out for blind auditions, Lexi was like, I'm going to get all this footage and I'm going to make an Instagram reel. Like, that reel has been sitting in her drafts for months. And she showed it to my mom for the first time, and she was like, "Lexi, what is that?" I think that was the night before they were getting ready for bed, because it was an early call time.
Yeah. And
she's like, "Lexi, you cannot post that." And well,
Lexi
did. I love it. I think it's vulnerable. I'm like, Mom, you're a real person. You go to bed just like everybody else. Like you look fine. It's fine.
What is this scene here? Let's pull this back up here. Let me click on this picture where everybody can see. What was going on right here with this picture?
I think I was talking more about opening for Blake, and I think I was sharing that moment with my mom and with Lexi, and we were talking about just kind of how that impacted me and how it brought me to the place where I am today, and how cool it is to be able to share that with Blake and sing for him in his last season.
And then he didn't care.
No. It's not that he didn't care. He has reasons for not turning. I might never know what they are.
Oh,
but
it's like that date of, hey, I'll call you.
Well, for me, people ask me all the time if I'm upset that Blake didn't turn. And, I'm really not. I love Kelly. I was stoked when I found out that Kelly was coming back. And I told them that I hoped that Kelly and Blake both did not turn, because I don't know who I would have picked. Because I've always said if I was going to be on The Voice, I would either be on Team Blake or Team Kelly. Which season 22, when I was preparing with my pre-audition process, I didn't know Kelly was coming back at the time.
Right.
And so I didn't find out that she was coming back until I was out there for blinds, and I totally freaked out. And then she ended up being the first person that turned for me and my coach. So
Terry just posted your fan page there if you want to click on that.
Oh,
if you're
yeah.
watching in the
Thank you,
comments,
Miss
anybody,
Terry.
you
Yeah.
can click that. And all the thank yous there. And if you've got a question for Holly,
Please.
as we're talking, ask her.
Ask me all the questions. I love it. This is fun.
It a long way as you get ready. Now, when can you talk about when you go back? Is this filmed in LA or where is it filmed?
It's filmed in LA. That's all I can say.
It's in LA. We found that out. But look
in
for
LA.
it. That's coming up. And I have to admit, this would be such a big deal. We've got Todd Tillman, who has won this. Did you talk to Todd before you went and done this, and say what was it like?
I didn't. I got to meet Todd when I think he was doing a concert at the Riley Center with Track 45 last year, and I got to go and introduce him as Miss Mississippi. And so I got to talk to him backstage beforehand, and we talked about The Voice, and I talked about wanting to be an artist, but didn't really know where to get my start. Knew that I wanted to audition, but was just asking for advice, and he had me sing for him.
Really?
Well, yeah, I sang Amazing Grace a cappella. I think it was somebody that was with him, his assistant. Somebody was like, "Well, if you're going to be a singer, you might as well be ready to sing now. You have to be, ready to sing on the spot, so sing." And I was like, "Really?" And they're like, "Yep." And so I just sang Amazing Grace a cappella, and he was so nice, and it was so cool to be able to meet him. My mom taught him, I think in high school, and she had no idea that he could sing, but I had never met him before, but I voted for him and watched him on The Voice. So I have not gotten to really speak to him a lot, not in person since everything is aired, but we've messaged a little bit back and forth, and he's been supporting me on my pages, and his wife
Yeah, we
Brooke,
appreciate
too.
that.
Yeah, we do love that. Maybe Meridian will have 2 for 2.
We hope so. And you brought something up there, and I think everybody in the room that's watching here live in the audience here and at home, of a true artist, truly, and I mean this from the bottom of my heart. You can sing what you want, but when you get there and they go, "Could you do a gospel song for us?" and they just kind of stare at you, and they don't know any. Coming from the South, religion is just such a big part of our lives. And you do such a wonderful job at that. I'm glad that you brought that up, because that touches my heart, that you had forgot where you began.
Oh, yeah. My faith is super important to me and always will be. I'm still deciding, do I want to be a country artist? Do I want to do contemporary Christian music and it be more of an Ann Wilson, Kane the Band type feel? I'm not exactly sure which genre I'm 100% set on. I might even want to do both. But for right now, I am a country artist.
I would say that most people watching are going to go, "Oh, Holly, you're too good at that. Don't walk away from that."
I really like the idea of being in a position where people are looking at me so I can point them towards Jesus. And I think it would be really cool to not, I know that Christian music is important, but to not limit myself to just one group. I want to be able to impact everyone. And you wouldn't know who would come to your concerts, their experience, if they've ever even heard the name of Jesus before. And so I really like the idea of being in a position where a lot of people are looking at me so I can point them towards Christ. And that's a ministry opportunity in itself that I feel like people forget about, and it's just as important as the Lauren Daigles of the world, too.
I like the way you talk. And really look at the biggest name that country music ever had, bar none, was Hank Williams. What did Hank do? Luke the Drifter. There is no telling, and I had somebody saying, "Well, he was just an old drunk." Well, not necessarily. That man brought so many people to Christ. It's just unreal. I saw the light. And over all these church hymns that Hank done. He was very religious. Did he have some problems? Was he a sinner? Absolutely.
We're all sinners.
Yes.
And even Carrie Underwood, she released an album not too long ago, and it was just some of her favorite hymns. Something in the Water was a song that she released that I absolutely love. And you can look at artists like Gabby Barrett. A lot of artists really are believers, and they're using their platform for Jesus. And that's something that I would love the opportunity to do. And even on The Voice, I'm very outspoken about my faith. And just the Voice producers and crew, everyone there is so welcoming. And it's so cool to meet all of the artists and to meet people who have different ways of life and just such a diverse collection of people that you get to be around. But everyone is super outspoken about what they believe and how they live their lives. And I think that's really cool. So I've been able to really be outspoken and bold with my faith there.
All right, let me ask this. Who did you go to at home, mom or dad, when you needed advice when you were getting ready to go to a pageant or if you were getting ready to go sing somewhere? Who'd you go to? Because I'm just saying, I know your daddy wasn't standing on stage up there. I'm not trying to start any rumors or anything.
Well, my dad couldn't come because of work. My mom and my dad were my first. My mom could come because we co-owned the boutique together, and so she was in a position where she could step away and I can step away. But my dad had to work, but he was still supporting me all the way back here in Mississippi. But probably a mix of both. I do remember a lot of times where I would sit down with both of my parents and talk to them. I think that I share a special relationship with both of them individually and then just them as a whole. There's lots of times where we're in the car and I'm just like, hey, what do you guys think about, XYZ as we're traveling?
What a lot of people don't know is your dad is a great singer as well.
He is.
And that bound to have rubbed off on you.
He's very musically talented. He can play just about any instrument you put in his hand. He has an incredible ear. Has a beautiful voice too, but that's where I like to say that I got my gift from. Well, the Lord, but also my dad and his interest in music. He introduced me to it. So. And
you got to, as you were just saying, asking, you have to have support. And if you're watching us, because I always hear, well, how can my child do this and this? It takes support from the parent. That's where it all begins.
It does. Definitely. I wouldn't be here without the support. And even just traveling all the weekends that we did, going to different talent competitions, I couldn't have done that by myself as a kid. And I don't think that if I had that experience doing that I would be where I am today. I wouldn't be as comfortable as I am on stage. I wouldn't know who I was. I wouldn't have a voice to speak about. Like I wouldn't be able to do what I'm doing on The Voice. So my parents played a big role in that and taking me everywhere. And even the same with my brother and his interests. They were just really good at wanting to make sure that we were doing what we loved, what we were interested in, and they didn't have to do that. I know that a lot of people don't have that in their support system in their family, and I didn't realize what a blessing that was and how...
It's a game changer.
Right, and how not normal that was to have that, tight, close family unit, that a lot of people don't have that. And I didn't realize that until, as I got older, going to college and then going to national pageants like Miss America, just being more out there outside of Mississippi, realizing how blessed I am to have that.
And let me say this, as we were talking about religion and everything, that's something that money cannot buy. I want everybody to understand that cannot be bought. That's love from the heart, and that's what your folks are there to stand behind you with. Now, let's talk about this. As you propel, and your name is going to be a household name regardless of what happens on this contest. We wish you luck. You're going to do great.
Thank you.
So far, who would you say is the person that's made you go, oh, I've met this famous person? Is there anybody? Have you gotten kind of used to that lately?
Kelly Clarkson. I love her. I have looked up to her for years, and I'm not just...
She won a talent show to get where she is, didn't she?
She was like the first American Idol. She was the OG American Idol. And, I'm not just saying that just because she's my coach. Like, as I was learning different songs growing up, I would always look and see, has Kelly done it? Especially on her show, Kelly Oki. She covers all different types of songs and kills it every single time. But I adore Kelly Clarkson and have looked up to her for as long as I can remember. And she's one of my biggest vocal inspirations, even though she's not a country singer. Yeah. She's from the South. She's a country girl. She did a duet with Reba. Like she knows her stuff in country music. And when she sings country music, she sounds like a country artist. She can literally sing anything. And so that's why I was so excited that she was coming back, is that I was going to get to meet Kelly Clarkson. And then for her to be the first person that turned for me was just so cool. Like, I do some of her versions of country songs. I do her version of She's Got You. I did her version of Up to the Mountain when I won Miss Mississippi, which isn't technically a country song, but you can you could make it country. It sounds country when I do it.
And I have to apologize. I had never heard the song before you. Yeah, a little different for me. I just didn't know it.
Yeah, I really love the message behind it. You know, really, when we think about facing adversity in our lives, just kind of that message of perseverance and hope and overcoming, kind of like that light at the end of the tunnel. I really like songs than music that has a message and that can impact people. Fun songs are cool too, but the power of music and how it can impact our emotions and our minds, I think is really, really cool. And so whatever music I end up creating, I want to impact people in a positive way.
Well, you know, and I've always said this, and I think most people agree. If you're listening to a radio, you got a CD on your phone, or if it's an iTunes that you're listening to, if it can make you stop and become part of that song for 3 minutes, you've got a hit. It's touched someone.
Absolutely.
There's so many people that really missed the boat on that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the message behind music is really important. I think most people focus on the tune and how it sounds, and that's important.
Right.
But really, the lyrics are just as important, especially when they're powerful and they mean something. Lyrics really have the potential to impact people just as much as a tune being stuck in your head. How you felt when you listened to a song can get stuck in your head too.
Let me ask this, because, all right, Holly comes from Meridian. She gets Miss Mississippi. You travel all over the place. You go to Miss America. Let's talk about your love life. How many people since then have asked you out, slipped you notes? Are people scared to get near you? How does it work as a girl? Because I've always wanted to find that out. Do you find yourself getting winked at a lot, things like that?
Not really, but you know, I'm not really.
Or is it that your mama's standing so close to you all the time?
I don't really focus on that. I'm in a relationship with the best guy.
Relationship.
Yeah, he's the best guy that I could have ever imagined or even could have expected that I would get, and he's with me a lot. He's kind of like my bodyguard. He's like over 6 feet tall, and like I'm like 5'5". I'm not that tall, and I'm like just even my hands. I'm a very petite person, so he's with me a lot. My dad is with me too. I see him over there throwing his hands up. My dad is a bodyguard too. No, but really most of the messages that I've gotten are really just about my voice, which I love. But if I do get a little like a love letter or a love comment, I don't really focus too much on it because I've already got what I want and what I need.
So how old are you?
I'm 20, about to be 23. Why did I have to think about that? It's been a long day.
Well, the reason I was going to do that, I think you're a little too old for Leonardo DiCaprio now. Doesn't he just like dump anybody that gets over 22? They got to be at least 21, 20. You're too old for him now.
I don't know.
Have you kept up with that?
I haven't, honestly.
He's 50? And everybody he dates is 20?
You know, I think
you can do that if you're rich.
I think what I have looked for in a man is not your typical like Hollywood type. I don't,
overalls is what you're after.
Jeans and boots, that, and I really look for somebody who is family and faith oriented, and my Hayden is all of those things. So I don't
listen to this.
Love you, Hayden.
Little love note. Your daddy's back there rubbing his ear. I'm not even gonna get into that. Let's talk about girls or even men that are watching. What do you say to them? Where do you begin? How do you get on this path? Or is there even a way to describe all of this? Of if somebody comes up to you and they go, Holly, I really look up to you. I want to follow your footsteps. How do you tell them to begin?
It's hard to just give them like a one sentence, like, here you go, here's your solution, because it's so many things melted into one. I think passion has a lot to do with it, hard work. Talent, I think, only gets you so far. You have to have both. You have to be talented and also have the drive and the dedication, because you have to work at your craft. I think a lot of it has to do too with just the Lord's will. The Lord gives us the desires of our heart, and I think sometimes that's misinterpreted to think, well, God just gives you what you want.
It's not.
It's not what that means. It means like when you're walking in step with Him and you have a relationship with Him, the will that He has for you, He's going to place those desires in your heart. And for me, that has been music from day one. So I know that I was created to do music, and that's His will for me. But I think the main thing too is, just putting yourself out there. Every opportunity that you get to sing, say yes. Don't say no to anything. You never know who's watching.
Right. That's true.
And you know, you don't even just getting paid an experience, like getting out there, just getting used to being on stage more and learning more about yourself. You know, for me, singing my entire life, I've learned about my voice a lot better, what songs work for me, what songs don't. And you become more comfortable along the way, like the more that you do it. But with the voice, I mean, I just recorded myself singing in my house, like literally in my stairwell. I set my phone up and I was like, hey, I'm Holly Brandon. This is my audition video and I hope you like it. Truly did not think that anyone was going to see it. I turned it into the casting website, and then I got an email a couple months later and got a phone call, and like now I'm on Team Kelly. So you never know what's going to happen. So I would say go for it. You have nothing to lose. And if you're thinking about doing it and you haven't done it yet, this is your sign to do it.
All right. Another question on that, because with success also comes failure. There has bound to have been a time where your feelings were hurt. You didn't get what you want. Mm-hmm. Advice on dealing with being rejected. What do you say to somebody when that happens? Because it does hurt when you think, gosh, that was great, and somebody shoots you down. How did you deal with it?
Rejection is just a part of the game. Being told no is just a part of it. And I think that's why for me it was so important to wait until I felt like I was ready to do something like this, because I knew that being told no was going to be a part of it. Even in the pageant industry, the music industry, up until this point, not everyone is going to love you. And it doesn't matter what career path you end up, even outside of music, like you cannot please everyone. Jesus didn't please everyone, and he's Jesus. True. So why do we think that we can please everyone? Really, you have to just be confident in yourself, and you have to be sure of yourself and your craft. And there's a difference in taking constructive criticism and knowing what's worth listening to and taking into consideration, and something that's just hateful, something that's just mean. You know, somebody in my comment, there's a lot of that. You know, somebody in my comment saying, hey, maybe add a little bit more vibrato here, or maybe work on your dynamics. That's constructive criticism. But for someone to comment and say, well, you know, she's not very good or something else, like that's just a hateful comment. And so you really have to learn what the difference is for you and what it means to accept that criticism, and also kind of block out the hate, because there's going to be hate. And then also just being sure of yourself and being confident in who you are. So when you get those hate comments, because you will, you can confidently say, well, that's not true, but okay.
So to speak, kind of being thick-skinned, so to speak.
You have to be, and I wasn't always like that. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. That stuff used to get to me. I would be the person that I could be in a room and 99 people could love me, and one person could hate me, and I would be focusing on that one person. Like,
and I could see that.
Well, why do you hate me? What did I do to you? Like, how can I make you like me? And I've just learned just to not focus on that. And if the overwhelming majority is positive, like, that's good. And it's really been such a blessing for me, like on Instagram and TikTok and YouTube, like the reactions post The Voice have been overwhelmingly positive, and that's really cool to see. So, and I wasn't expecting it to go that way. You mean, you never know what's going to happen, but you just really have to learn to be thick-skinned and know that if this is what you're going to pursue, that it's just a part of it, and you just got to let it go in one ear and out the other. Sometimes that's way easier said than done. There are still sometimes now where I'll read a comment and I'll get a little upset. I'm like, oh, like,
wait till I tell my daddy.
Like, you're right. I'm like, that one hurt. But I've had to learn to just what to focus on and what not to focus on.
All right, let's because I think you said, what, 28 a minute ago? Oh, no, I made a mistake. 23.
About to be 23. May 2nd, everyone.
Have you graduated college yet?
I have. I graduated college at the University of Alabama.
Uh-oh, we got a Bama fan in the house.
I'm sorry. Miss America gave me a full scholarship to Alabama, so I graduated debt-free.
Well, I understand then. That makes sense.
With a degree in communication studies, and I was making plans to go to grad school because it was paid for. So I graduated from college the month before I won Miss Mississippi, and with Miss Mississippi, you have to take a year off of school. So the plan was to go to grad school. Won that, and I was like, well, I'll just go next year, and was really praying about like my next steps after Miss America and after I submitted my voice audition video, and knew that I had made all the plans to do like an open call for The Voice, because I really did not think that anybody was going to see that video. And I was thinking about what would be the best position that I could put myself in to pursue music fully, and that was to stay in Meridian and to not go to grad school. So I have a bachelor's degree, so if music doesn't work out, I can, you know, do journalism or something like that, be a news anchor. You
brought this up a minute ago, and let's point this out. You mentioned something about you and your mom being in business together. What do y'all do?
My mom and I co-own a boutique together on North Hill Street.
What's it called?
It's called Brand New You. And I absolutely love it, being able to work with her every day. We just really love impacting people and making people feel beautiful when they come into our store. Our slogan is something for everyone. It's a place where moms and daughters can come and shop, and they don't have to go to different stores or even go out of town to shop. They can just go to one place. And I love fashion. It's so much fun. So it's something else that I like to do outside of music that I'm happy doing, and just really love meeting people every day and getting them all dressed up for their special event.
Yeah, we want to invite everybody to come by and visit with y'all.
Oh, yeah, please do.
It'd
We
be
love
a
that.
good little thing there. If you've never met Holly, do so, because she's as down to earth right now as she will be there or wherever they bump into you. I do want everybody to meet you and have a picture made with you if they want to.
Oh, yeah, and if you see me in public, please come say hi. I feel like since everything has aired, I've been out in town a couple of times and have noticed a couple of people will kind of like do that number. So if you see me, please, please, please come up and introduce yourself. Let's get a picture or something. I love meeting everyone, and it does not bother me.
Right.
I've had some people come up and like, I'm sorry, I don't mean to bother you. And I'm like, no, like I love that. So please don't be shy. Come say hey, and we'll talk.
There's two people that come to mind that was real good at it, and I've been with other stars that were rude to people. But the two people and they were huge. Charlie Daniels. I'm telling you, no matter where you go, what you do, who the child was, what Charlie was doing, he would stop, turn around,
good.
take a picture.
I thought you were saying he was one of the ones that was mean, and I was like, don't crush my soul. I have a fiddle signed by him.
Charlie was above and beyond as nice as he could be to anybody that wanted his picture. And another one, and I sat with him, and I had dinner with him, and I watched him. It took him probably an hour and 30 minutes to eat a small hamburger. Morgan Freeman. Everybody that stopped and talked to Morgan, he would stop, lean over, take a picture with him, thank him for coming by and talk, and never forget that. And I don't think you will. This is a path we're going to see this young lady go far, far, far from Meridian, Mississippi. Just don't forget us once you get there.
Absolutely not. I could never forget.
Am I leaving out anything that you want to say that we haven't discussed? And I've asked a lot of questions out there.
I guess for me, just, thanking everyone for the support. It has meant so much to me to have just the overwhelming support and encouragement, from the world, but also from my hometown, especially. I grew up singing at almost every event that you could possibly think of in Meridian, and I've felt so supportive and felt so supported and encouraged the entire way, and that hasn't stopped now. And so I just wanted to say thank you to everyone who's been watching. I read all of the comments, and I try to go through all the messages, even though I can't respond to all of them because there's so many. I do read as much as I can, and it really does mean a lot. And in a world or in my position where you're kind of having a lot of things coming at you at once, to have that positivity from the people that you care about most and helped shape you to the person that you are really does mean a lot. So thank you.
Final question here so people kind of understand the show. For the folks going, okay, I want to start watching Holly. What happens on the show next? Everybody gets picked, and then there's going to be another round. Am I right?
Yeah, there are a few more rounds before live shows, which begin in May. The next round is the battle rounds, and that's where...
How does that work?
So that's where your coach pairs you with somebody else on your team, and you both sing a song together, and then the coach picks who is the winner of the battle, and then that person will advance to the knockout round. So battles begin to air on March 27th, I think. I don't know.
That down. March 27th.
I don't know which episode I will be on, but that means you'll just have to watch every single week because all of my friends are super, super talented.
Okay, let's just say that somebody makes it that far. What and the live, do you need people if you were to make it to the live version? Because I'm trying to remember back on Todd. People call in and vote by the phone, is that? And so it really depends upon how many followers that you get at that point to progress you. Am I right?
Yeah,
Kinda?
Support for live shows, whoever does make it to the live shows, is very important. And there's a bunch of different voting methods. I'm not 100% sure all the voting methods that there are. I think you can vote on the Voice app. I want to say you can vote on Twitter as well, but you'll have to keep a lookout to see who will make the lives and who will need that support.
Well, we're looking forward to this. So many people wishing you well. Hello, Miss Barbara Jones. How are you doing there?
Miss Barbara.
Isn't she sweet?
I love her. Aw.
Mary Lynn's up there going, Roll Tide.
Roll Tide.
We had to get at least one Roll Tide.
We had
before
to get at least one Roll Tide.
Well, we want to thank you for coming by. I love the boots. I hate that y'all can't see the white boots that are underneath the counter. They're gorgeous.
Boots are like my thing. I think I was asked out there at some point. So like, do you only wear boots? And I'm like, for stage stuff, yeah. It's just, I'm like, I can't sing a country song in heels. I gotta, as much as I love my pageant heels, I've got to have my boots on. So I have like a whole container of
So,
boots.
all right, this just popped in my head as you brought that up. Because I've never been on a big television show like this. Do you have to bring your own clothes, or do they provide you what to wear?
It's kind of like a mix of both. We have a wardrobe team, and they are the absolute best. I've gotten to wear some cool boots.
Okay.
So love the wardrobe team. Thank you, the Voice Wardrobe.
Voice Wardrobe.
Voice Wardrobe. We have hair and makeup department. They have. I feel like the Voice has departments and everything. It's just this one huge machine that they have just making everything work. It's crazy.
So where can we? Because you said you've done an a cappella, and for somebody that wants to hear a little bit of you doing how great they are, where can somebody find that? Is it anywhere that we can hear?
There might be a version on Facebook somewhere that my parents might have recorded. I haven't posted a lot of singing content before, just because I really didn't have time with Miss Mississippi. So there's some videos on my TikTok of me singing at Miss Holly Brand, and then there's a highlight on my Instagram, which the username is I'm Miss Holly Brand on everything. So that's how
MISS.
MISS, Miss Holly Brand on everything. That's how you can find me. I've got some covers on there as well. I just haven't posted a ton of singing content, so there's not a ton out there, but hopefully that's about to change.
All right, it's coming. Of course, The Voice. Look for her. It's going to go far. And if you got that itch to see Holly, swing by and visit with her and her mom there, and you can tell her mom just how great her hair looked on national television.
Oh, my mom was going to die when she watches this. Love you, Mom, if you're listening.
Holly, again, thank you. And from all of us here and those watching, God bless. And we wish you the absolute best. Comes from the bottom of our heart.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. And thank you for having me.
Absolutely.
We'll have to do it again.
Always welcome back. And a big thank you to everybody watching tonight. As always, we'll be back tomorrow morning beginning at 6:30, and we'll be live on television beginning at 7. So join us, and as always, we'll keep you up to date with whatever's going on in Meridian, good, bad, or ugly. We're going to tell you about it. Thank you. We'll see you tomorrow morning.
Bye, guys.
The Scotty Ray Report is brought to you by our following partners: